Hello, everyone. I'm Anaí,
And I'm David.
and this is Not Your Average Chalupa. Woo
Yeah,
woo.
that's right.
Welcome to our very first episode, guys. How are you feeling, David?
I'm feeling good.
I feel like a news reporter right now.
Yeah.
Welcome. We are live at 6:46 p.m. on
on a Thursday afternoon, Friday
And
afternoon.
We are embarking on a new journey, and it is beyond exciting.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
I am too, but I want everyone to know that this is a safe space, just as it is for you, for me, for anyone who's listening, anybody we may have on as a guest. I've always wanted to have a safe space where I can come to share my thoughts or just be heard. And this is the intention behind the podcast and on my terms. And I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, I agree. Just being able to share our stories and other people's stories and have fun along the way. That's what's most important.
Mm-hmm. So, a little bit about me. I am born in Ecuador. I was raised in New York, immigrated here. So I am a first generation,
Yeah.
First generation what? Immigrant?
No,
I'm not a first generation immigrant. I'm like second. Well, I'm a first generation graduate, so
Yeah, that's props to you.
You know. Yeah, born in Ecuador, born in Cuenca. I am both fluent in Spanish and English, as you can see. La la la. You guys may hear a lot of Spanish coming from me, whether it's a little bit of slang or music, but there will be some Spanglish in this, just a heads up.
Yeah, not so much for me. I'm through and through.
He can sing.
Hey, but not speak it.
He can sing Spanish as if he were fluent, but you don't have a clue on what you're saying.
I don't know what I'm saying at all. No, it's just jumbles coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, but I was born in Ecuador, immigrated here at 8, and I am now 23, and I've been living in New York ever since.
Yeah, and I was born and raised in the Bronx. I, been here my whole life. I've been to Ecuador, where Ana is from, on 2 occasions, and it's a beautiful city. So, definitely I can understand where she's coming from, but we have different experiences, different backgrounds, and I think that's why we'll be able to, provide unique insights on different experiences in life.
Yeah, so you may ask why not your average chalupa?
Yeah, so we aren't average people. No one's an average person.
No one's average. There's no such thing as an average or a specific thing or perfect, and that's my one thing. We are not average. I don't think anybody is. And then chalupa, if I may.
Yeah.
So David is my boyfriend.
That's right.
We've known each other since we were 13, and we'll get a little bit into that further down. But when we first moved in together, we were talking about like our insecurities or the way that we look and things, that we dislike and like about each other. And I personally love that David is a little Chewbacca.
I'm a very hairy man. I have like a bunch of back hair. I've had back hair since I was like 13. I'm just like covered in body hair.
So it was like you came home from work, I think, and it was like super late. I was waiting for him, and back when you used to come like 11, 12, bro. So he came home late, and I was just really sleepy, and he's talking about his back hair and how he doesn't like it. And I'm like, no, bro. And in my mind, I meant to say Chewbacca. Everybody knows Chewbacca. He's like this hairy little fucker.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, bro. You're like my very own chalupa. I meant to say Chewbacca.
But then I looked at her and I was like, chalupa. Like, she's like, yeah, chalupa.
And I full on said it serious. Like, yeah, David, don't worry about it. You're my chalupa. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then I was like, you mean Chewbacca? And she's like, oh my goodness.
So it's a great memory in the sense of us sharing as a couple, as being able to have that comfort to provide.
Yeah, and then we ended up calling each other chalupa on a more regular basis, even in front of like our coworkers and our friends.
And it just kind of stuck because at first you were chalupa.
Yeah.
Because you're the chupa. I'm not hairy. Yeah. If anything, I'm
opposite.
Not hairy at all. But it just kind of stuck like that. So he started calling me chalupa, and we are chalupas.
That's right.
So we are not average. So
we're not your average chalupas.
Yeah.
And there you go.
That's the origin behind our name.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about how we met?
Yeah. So
Yeah. When I was 13, I had
My first love.
love.
For those who are watching, we do have our little baby Oppo here.
Our gatito.
For our listeners, we have a 2-month-old baby cat. He's a little kitty. His name is Opalito. We call him Opalini Bobini. And he is our newest addition to the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's our executive producer, by the way.
He's 2 months, almost making his way to 3 months. So he's a little baby, a black cat. Very cute.
Sorry, I got sidetracked right there. He's very cute.
He has like opal looking eyes, i.e. the name.
Yeah, so this goes way back. So this goes way, way, way back. When I came in here at second grade, I became friends with a very special girl. Her name is Jeannie. She was my OG friend, and it was like the best friend dream. We eventually moved in together. Like her parents bought a house and everything, and like me and my father moved in, and like it was just best friend dream, bro.
Yeah.
So me and Jeannie were close, super, super close.
It was like a sister scenario.
I love that girl.
You know?
So she would post me on her stories and everything. So elementary, we were in school together. Middle school, we were not in school together, but we were still very close. And she would post me on her Instagram back then before we had stories.
Yeah.
So Jeannie posts me something about me, a picture of me, and David was interested.
I slid in the DMs. I was like,
no.
I was like,
You
who
slid
is
in my
that?
kick.
Yeah, exactly. But Kick DMs is still DMs. It was a direct message to your
Kick.
Kick is
Iconic.
Yeah, Kick was a social media platform where it was just only messaging, no stories, no pictures. You made a profile, you sent a message.
Your profile picture, and that's
exactly.
it.
But yeah, so I decided to ask Jeannie because Jeannie was in my circle of friends within school, and that's how we connected originally. Because Jeannie was Anai's OG friend. They grew up in the same elementary school. They lived together in the same building, and I met Jeannie through middle school. So Jeannie was part of my circle of friends. And I saw her picture that she posted on Instagram, and I was like, "Who's that shawty? Who's that?" And she gave me her kick. I asked. At first, she didn't want to give me the kick. She was like, "No, stay away from my friend."
Yeah. So Jeannie, shout out to her because obviously, if anybody just a random asks back then, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She was like, she had to ask me, so she came back to me. She asked me, she showed me a picture of you, and Loki, I was like, I guess.
I was looking a little alien bean head, you know. I still got the noggin, but.
So she asked me, and I was like, you know what, like go ahead, give it to him. And so then David was constantly insisting, so she gave it to you. He slid in my DMs, and the first thing, like we're talking or getting to know each other, whatever, and he goes, "Do you want to come over? I know how to cook."
I was brave, bro. Listen, I was trying to do anything.
13.
And I listen. I knew how to cook. I wasn't capping. I was telling the truth. I can cook pretty well. I know how to make my eggs, my rice,
but
my
here's
chicken.
The thing,
you know.
baby. You were actually being genuine. Like you wanted to have me over to cook for me.
Yeah.
You had no malintention of like, you know.
Maybe a kiss or two, but I was not trying to like, you know, I wasn't being dirty minded. Of course, I'm 13,
but he's the only 13-year-old that will invite you over to cook for you. And in my mind, I was like, there's no way he's inviting me over to cook for me. Like what?
Yeah.
So I initially said no, like, but we would still talk, you know.
Yeah,
we would talk.
It started the conversation, you know. I stood out in that moment, and then we became friends over time.
So it was like this on and off, like just talking regular. He became my friend, and then I thought nothing about it. Like Kick eventually was discontinued, and we stopped talking to each other.
Yeah.
So then flash forward. So mind you, the school that Jeannie and David went to, it was a middle school and high school.
Yes.
But it was in a big building where there was another high school in there. I happened to get accepted into that other high school.
So imagine we're all in the same building. It's just one side of the building was the high school and middle school that I went to, and the other side of the building was the high school that Anai went to.
Cinema school.
Yeah, I went to Mahal V, you know, represent Falcons.
Yeah, we definitely got lots of stories on that. But yeah, I went to cinema and he went to Mahal. It was the first or second day. And you know how like for first day of high school, it was, so mind you, they wore uniforms, we didn't.
Yeah, they were the cool kids. They didn't have to wear uniforms. They filmed like cinematography based courses.
Cinema school, yeah.
It was so cool. Like we were the restricted black shoes, you know, khaki pants, and they were the like you dress how you want, you look cool, you feel good. You're doing these artsy kind of curriculum.
So no uniform, right? And it's the first week of school, I have my outfits planned. I'm looking good, bro, and I'm like feeling myself. And then I'm walking through the hallway, and there's this one place where our schools meet, because our schools are separate from each other, same building, but we don't go near each other. In this one space where they meet by the stairs, and I'm walking to the stairs, and it's like a movie, bro. I'm walking to the stairs. I'm on the right side. David's on the left side. We're walking both toward the stairs, and I walk past him, and I kind of like take a double look at him, and I go down, and I kind of like smiled. I didn't speak to you because I wasn't sure if it was you. And then he smiled at me, and then I was like, "Oh my god, he looks like that guy.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's his name? You know?"
Chalupa.
And later that night, back then we had Snapchat.
Yeah.
You texted me. You added me on Snapchat, and you were like, "Hi, it's David." And I was being a bitch to you.
Where you dubbed me?
I know. I said which one.
Oh damn.
I know lots
But in all
of
honesty,
Davids.
like I'm not. It's not like a surprising thing because David's a common name, so I didn't take any offense to it. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, I'm the
So-
one from Kick. You know, the one that wanted to cook for you, either.
And you know what I replied? I was like, "Oh, the cute one."
Oh shit. Yeah. No. Honestly, after middle school, right? I was the Rizzler, right? I tried to initiate.
David?
High school David was not it, bro. I would be the. I could not start. I could not scoop. I had no game. It was just. I existed. That's it. So I give all props to Anna in terms of like rizzing me up
That's
and
my one thing.
initiating the relationship.
Even so, we'll get into a relationship, but even when without you, like not dating you, bro, I could raise anybody up. I should make a story
Yeah,
time.
yeah, she got game.
On the even celebrities, bro.
Yes. Basketball players, movie stars, like
Stop it,
that's-
please.
what can I
Stop
say,
it.
man? I got me a good one.
Anyway, so yeah, so it started from there. David would pick me up from school. Obviously, we went to the same school. Pick me up from the school. He would walk me to my house. I lived like not even 10 minutes, 5 minute,
Yeah,
5 minute walk
yeah.
away from the school.
I was about a half an hour walk from the school, so
So he would walk me home. He was perfect, you know. And we were like what, 15, right?
yeah, 15.
So around the time like
It was around October, October leading to November. So Halloween season. That was when we started dating.
so yeah, I officially started dating. We had our first kiss,
Yeah,
which was
it was awkward, and I made it even worse. So the story around our first kiss is in the beginning phase, especially during middle school and high school, you don't really want to let your parents know you're dating. And this is
Yeah.
especially prominent for Anai because her
So,
dad is
I grew up with
Yeah.
I grew up with a single father. He was very protective over me, and back then we were living in Jeannie's house. So
Yeah.
Jeannie's family, it was a 2-family house. It wasn't
exactly.
really a
It wasn't
2-family
just like
house.
one parent you have to hide from. You had to hide from 3 different parents.
Everybody,
Yeah,
bro. So
the neighbors knew about them, so it was like no go zone in terms of that block.
So I used to have David drop me off at the corner.
Yes.
Every time. But this one particular day, we were like, you know what? You can drop me off in front of my house.
I was like, oh, say less. I get to see the house. This is getting serious. And we decide to walk to the house. We're holding hands. We're being all canoodly, And we get to the front of the house, and it was kind of like that awkward pause where we just like stare at each other and look.
Also, quick side note, David is much taller than I am. I am 5 foot. That's it. I'm 5 foot.
5'1". Give
No,
yourself some
I'm
props.
5 foot.
Yeah, and
5 feet.
I'm 5'9", going on 5'10", but I just tell people 5'9". Yeah, and so we get to the front of the house, and we look at each other, and we're just checking. We're like kind of nervous that people are gonna see, but it's kind of one of those things where you're in your own world, You just get into your own bubble, and of course, I think she leans forward first because obviously Rizzler, and I'm over here like, okay, I guess this is it, right? And I lean in for the kiss, and we kind of do the side to side dance with our heads because we're trying to figure out who's gonna lean right, who's gonna lean left. It's awkward. We're both 15 years old, figuring out how to kiss each other. We bump noses, not just no regular like tap. We
It was
slam
like
noses.
that.
It was bad.
But we both have very particular noses.
Yeah, so I got a long nose and a wide nose.
And I have a very curvy nose, I guess.
She has
you could
like a
say.
nice like indigenous kind of like curved nose.
Like honestly, bro, like a toucan.
A toucan Pocahontas nose. That's my shawty.
But we just bumped noses, and I was ready to keep going, like,
Yeah.
And David goes, well, that was awkward, and takes 2 full steps
Nah,
back.
nah, it was not
away.
no 2 steps back. It was like
Bro.
it was my one big step. So for me that for
I'm
you that's
little.
2 steps. For me that's 1 step. But yeah, I took 1 step back and I was like, well, that was awkward because it
And
caught me off
proceeds
guard.
to laugh. Ah, ha, ha, that was awkward.
I couldn't help it. It was just it really caught me off guard. But then obviously Riz over here was just like,
I grabbed his jacket and I pulled him in.
that's
and
right, yo, it had me weak in the knees. It was no joke.
And it was good. You know, it was great. And I was more not in the headspace for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, to make it real short, I was just like, I was so insecure back then to the point to let me break up with you before you break up with me because
Yeah.
I don't want to get hurt. And that ended up in me hurting him. So we ended up
Yeah.
breaking up
We broke up, I'd say like not even 2-3 weeks
into
like,
dating.
into dating. Because we were talking for quite some time, but then dating, you know, it's a different story. Talking and dating. And it came down to this. So imagine we started dating in the beginning of October, and then towards the end of October, November is when we broke up. She had a school dance, a Halloween dance, and her school used to do it big. They used to do nice big parties, and you know, you dress, you wear your costumes. It was
we
really.
both had a dance that day, remember?
Mhm, we both had dances that day, but mine was before hers. No, mine was in
Yours was
the-
in the lunchroom. It was at the
Yeah.
same time. And we had agreed, it was at the same time. Our dances were
Yeah.
at the same time. And we agreed that he was going to pick me up because his dance was just a regular dance. My dance was a costume party.
Yes, yeah.
And I had the nicest unicorn costume,
She was dripped out.
you know. And David was like, I want to see your costume. Let me walk you home after the dance. Go ahead.
Yeah. What was the case that I couldn't pick you up? Did my mom tell me to go home?
No, I stood you up.
So I was waiting for you to
Yeah.
come home. Yeah, I don't remember exactly why, but I guess she
I'm
does.
glad you don't.
Yeah.
So we agreed that we were gonna meet after the dance, and at the dance, bro. And this is my innocent, dumb little mind. A guy asks me to dance with me, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm like, yeah. And so we're like dancing, but it's kind of I'm not twerking. I don't know. I don't like to shake butt. I don't like to shake ass. I'm not back then. So he asks me to dance, and we were basically dancing the whole night. And I felt like I cheated.
She thought that she would like offend me or hurt me because she was dancing with another person.
And this guy, I don't want to say his name. This guy, he asks me, "Let me walk you home." And I had texted David. I was texting David, and for some reason you weren't replying. But later on, I came to find out that it was, you know how the signal was really bad in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Mind you, David wasn't replying, so I was like, you know what? I should be walked home because it was late.
Yeah, it's dangerous, you know.
And turns out this guy walks me home. Meanwhile, David was waiting for me. You were waiting for me outside for a while, bro.
And probably like close to an hour, like waiting.
Yeah. And so eventually I go home and this guy gets me home, and then I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? I stood David up and I cheated on
I
him.
remember this because I was when you texted me that, yeah. So she thinks that she got walked home by another person, and I was waiting outside the school, and I was like, damn, why is it taking so long? And then she wasn't responding. She was probably like going through her head, like rambling and just not knowing what to say. And did you break up with me in that moment
No, I broke up with you at 3 a.m.
at 3 a.m.? Like, so what did you say?
I texted him at 3 a.m. because I was assuming he was going to be asleep.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to deal with the confrontation back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I was like, it was like a long paragraph. I think you're a great guy. Sha-la-la. Like, I'm sorry. It's not, you know, the typical cliches. And this was my first time ever being in something serious and something so nice and so genuine. And I was like, this is too good to be true. I just treated this man like shit.
So recap, right? Stands me up at school, gets taken home by this boy. We're texting. She tells me that, oh, it's okay, I already went home. And you told me that the guy walked you home, right?
Yeah.
So
he was okay with that.
Yeah, I wasn't upset at all. I was like, that makes sense. You know, it's okay if your friend wanted to walk you home. I wasn't mad at all. I was like, you know what? It's okay. Like, I'm not upset. I waited, but it's all right. I can just go home now. I get home. I think it was kind of, did we talk a lot? I don't think we talked a lot because you were just like,
I was already
going through your head. And then it's 3 a.m. and mind you, my sleep schedule was trash. I used to be like a typical teenager up until like 4 a.m, wake up at 6 to go to school. And she texted me at 3 a.m, this whole like long paragraph summarizing how she felt about me, but she felt like because she said it was too good to be true. Like
yeah, it was more so, I don't think this is gonna work out. and I was like, I danced with this boy, but then I started putting up a lot of excuses, and I just don't think this is gonna work out, and I think we should end it right here.
Yeah.
So David is like, okay.
Yeah, because my approach to relationships, I've been and I've had a couple girlfriends and just a lot of people who have not valued me for what I provided. Because in terms of relationships, when I decided to date someone, even at 15, like 14, 13, I was like, I'd say 13, I was a little stupid, but 14, 15, I was like, you know what? I'm committing to this person. I don't see why. If I'm gonna date them, it's for a reason, and I should see the value in that person. So when I decided to date Annie, I was like, yeah, this could be a long-term relationship. And she sends me the message to break up. And in all honesty, I was not surprised by girls not appreciating me as an individual. And they would oftentimes, I always got dumped. And no matter what, I would treat them
You
like
know
princesses,
why?
always got dumped.
That sucks because David always got dumped for being the good guy.
Yeah. I would always
That's-
treat
I
them nice,
was-
respectful. I was romantic. I would buy Valentine's, bring chocolates, write poems, cards, everything. I was the what would you call it? The optimistic romantic, or what is it?
Hopeless romantic.
Hopeless romantic, yeah.
But it sucks back then because the way he said it to me, and it makes sense. Back then, I was another one of those bitches who broke up with you for being good.
Yeah. So at that moment, I created this, I categorized her as one of the same as this group. And like as a group of people who just didn't care about the value I provided. And I was ready to move forward. And from then, we became friends. We were just friends, which is like,
Yeah.
you know,
So here's the thing. Before that, so we broke up. It was on a Friday. I remember it very clearly. Saturday, I woke up to his text. He was okay. It's all right. I'm not mad at you. And I'm like, wow, this is smoother than I thought.
yeah.
Sunday, I realized, I was like, what did I just do? What's going through my head? Like, I broke up with this man for no reason. And I texted you. I was like, I'm sorry. I think I messed up.
Yeah.
Can we go back to dating? And you were like, no.
Yeah, I said no.
You had your pride, and I respect that.
Yeah, because you're just gonna like flip flop your emotions on me, and I was tired of getting played with by people. So I was like, you want to break up with me? Now you're gonna deal with the breaking up with me. You can't just be. I'm here ready for the relationship. Like in terms of levels, like I'm level 3, you know. And if you're viewing me as a level 1, I'm not gonna let you bring me back down to level 1.
Exactly. So he said no, and I asked him if we could stay friends, and we stayed friends. And ever since then, we had a really close friend group. His
Yeah.
friend group basically took me in.
Yeah.
One of his friends, Alexis, he was my wingman. He used to
Yeah.
help me sneak into David's locker to give him Valentine's.
She was still trying to win me back, try to raise me up.
And David was just like not having it, but he was also not rude.
Yeah.
And we were part of each other's lives, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I became super close friends with his close friends.
Yeah.
And that became naturally. It wasn't even trying to get to them just so I could see
Exactly.
David. It was just this relationship with these 3 boys just
Because
was boring.
I had some genuine friends, you know, and Anna wanted to hang out with us because she saw how good of people they were. And I'm not going to deny a person to be friends. I'm not going to be there like, no, ostracize this individual because they did me wrong. No, I forgive, I move on. And if you want to be friends, that's okay with me. Like Anna is still a good person at the end of the day. She just made a silly slip up in terms of her decision in that moment. But, you know, life happens. You make decisions, you live with them, you move on. And we remain friends. And that's how we developed our, you know, connection over the years.
Yeah, so we became super close with each other. Our parents got to know each other. Other friends' parents, like, you know, all the friend group, the parents knew each other. And it was just this really close thing. We started going on vacations together.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm still here
Head over heels.
with Head Over Heels with David. Goes into high school, college, and then at college I kind of begin to think, okay, maybe I should start branching out.
Yeah.
So I started dating. I had my own personal dating life outside of David, but somewhere in the midst of that, it was David and I were kind of like, I want to say, testing the waters.
Yeah.
A little bit flirty.
We're being a little promiscuous, you know.
the-
It's just
So it was kind of there. We both kind of wanted it, but at that point, we had such a wonderful friendship, and
Yeah.
we were so close. I would come over here. His mother would, you know, let me in. My father trusted me being alone with you. Like, it was this beautiful friendship that we
Yeah.
had, and a part of me wanted to make
maintain
sure
that.
we keep that, because what if I fuck up again,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not giving that up. And at this point, there was family involved.
yeah.
So I was very afraid to like make this move because I don't want to mess up the friendship, because that's always a typical cliche. Oh, I fell in love with my best friend. Well, I did, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it was. And as we grew older and eventually moved out, we were always there for each other. David had his apartment, and that's where it kind of just began, helping him paint.
Yeah. So we got closer on a person-to-person level because my family moved out of the apartment that we currently live in, and I stayed and took over the bills. A couple of our friends moved in. It was just a nice environment where we were all hanging out a lot and getting a lot of social time together. And in that space, there was no like, it became more like, it felt like we were adults, you know, like moving out, living on your own, just seeing each other because you wanted to see each other.
And I was constantly here because I lived a 10-minute walk away.
Yeah, so it'd be like on a weekend basis. So imagine, that's pretty frequent to be around a person. And when the person values and cares for you, you start to feel emotions. And that's where it started to re-foster the relationship and, you know, step into that more serious light.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm like, I was already living on my own for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I already had my experience. I like, so I would come over on the weekends and cook and do these things and like, hey, let's hang out. And at this point, I already had given up all hopes of dating David.
Yeah.
And I was just full on ready to be friends. And I know, like, the typical cliche, it sounds like if you love something, let it go. If it comes to you, it was yours.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, it was never yours to begin with. But I just let it go. And I respected the friendship so much that I wanted to keep that.
Yeah.
So, right when I let go, he decides to pull me back in.
Yeah, because we had a conversation. It was around like Christmas time of last year. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, it's not going to work as a relationship. I was like, in terms of us being a couple, we can't do it. And in this, like, I'll give you like a general summary. Over the past like 2 years to a year, I've been trying to work on my acceptance of emotion, my expression of emotion, and receiving that level of compassion and care and love from an individual can be difficult because that admits that you are you're deserving of such, right? And in that moment, I still, in subliminally, subconsciously, probably didn't feel like I deserved that level of love, but I said no, and it was a big, you know, emotional conversation.
That's the moment where we were like, okay, you're my friend, and that's how it's going to stay.
Exactly.
And at this point, the boys were our best friends, our closest friends. They were already seeing
They were
what
shipping
he
us,
wasn't
yeah.
seeing, because at this point he was doing everything that a boyfriend
throwing
would.
birthday parties, building furniture. I was building furniture, bro. Like,
He
come
built
on
my
now.
he has built all my furniture,
Painting
taking
the
me to the
apartment, yeah.
hospital, like
Yeah.
everything. That he's been there for my father, and like at this point, everybody was seeing it, but you.
Yeah.
And even Yermo, one of our closest friends, he asked me, we made a bet. And you know, Yermo, like, I feel like Yermo would know you the most.
Yeah.
To certain things. Everybody has their assigned spots. But
Exactly.
Yermo kind of knows how to pick at David's head. And we were all convinced that David was feeling something. And David told me no. And we were like, okay, you know what? That's it.
Hands off.
Hands off.
And it's funny because right after that conversation was when I was like, fuck, I think I do like her. I think I do have feelings. And yeah, that's when we started. We started, after that conversation, just ironically enough, is when we started doing more kind of like couplese type of stuff, like going on hikes and...
We would go watch the sunrise and tell people we're just friends.
Yeah, that's... What kind of shit is that? I'm so stupid. Like, I'm like, yeah, we're just friends. We drove up like an hour and a half, 2 hours up a mountain to go see a sunrise. Like
we would bake together.
Yeah. Make banana bread, cook dinner.
This is not that typical cliche a lovey-dovey podcast. This is just their background. But
yeah, we're given a summary.
Yeah, that's how it was. And then I knew it, and I was like, David is not telling the truth. But I wanted to see how long it would be until he told me, hey, you know. But it was also very dangerous for me because I'm starting to catch deeper feelings at this point.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, so December passes by, my birthday passes by, throws me a whole birthday party. Amazing. January, February, March, we're like, at this point, I'm keeping clothes at your house.
Yeah, she had like a whole drawer and everything.
And I'm spending less and less time in my apartment.
And it became a point where I was like, she's pretty much my girlfriend. We both knew, like, in our heads, but we didn't say anything.
And at this point, we were like kissing goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. Like, doing
all
shit like we're a couple,
things.
but not actually
Without the label.
establishing the title. And comes April, and we both had this feeling, right? It was like it was springtime, you know.
It was lingering.
It was lingering around. There was fucking cherry blossoms everywhere in the city, and it's just like that romance was in the air, you know. As cheesy as it may sound. And there was one day that I had to go to work, and Anne wanted to drop me off in Manhattan because she wanted to stop by. What was it?
I wanted to see the cherry blossoms with him because I
Yeah.
know he loves the cherry blossoms. So I went to Central Park a couple hours before his job, for his shift. And I was like, if he doesn't ask me, I will.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
and I kind of got that vibe too. And
Yeah.
you know, since high school, David has not been a initiator, so to say.
And you know, I David is obviously in work clothes. He doesn't have a uniform for work, but just regular clothes. And I'm here like, I have to look good. I'm
Yo.
gonna ask him to be my boyfriend today.
Yeah.
You know, breaking stereotypes out here. So I put on this beautiful black dress, and
She was
I'm
looking
like,
good.
and you know, I'm feeling good, and we're just having a good time. We're like outside. We get bubble tea. We're like chilling. And I'm like, oh my god, like
We're like probably a train ride away, like 3 or 4 stops away from my job at Central Park, and we're sitting on this bench, and it's just fucking like people walking by,
It's
sitting, chilling.
beautiful.
Beautiful
It's like-
day, great weather.
the birds are. It sounds so cliche, but the birds
That's
are
the reality.
chirping.
And maybe it was the romanticization of the moment that we're like, oh my god, this is amazing. But that was the case, and we're looking at each other, and we just kind of get the vibe. And I'm like, shit, I gotta ask her. I was like, fuck, I gotta ask her. But I'm so like nervous at this point, and I'm postponing it, pushing it off. And she was like, what would you say?
Okay, so now I need to do a little like
Yeah, yeah.
flashback. For December. In December, March for Susali's birthday.
Yes.
We had my one of my closest friends, my best friend. She had a karaoke themed birthday party, and she asked that every guest came in with a song to perform. Ironically enough, David and I decided to do Taylor Swift Back to December.
Yeah.
And I told David, I was like, can we please do this song? And first of all, I was going to do my song by myself. And then David was like, I'll play guitar for you.
Yeah, because I didn't want to do a solo song.
So it worked out. And David learned the whole song for me, which is amazing. And he was like, why are you so passionate about the song? And I'm like, I'm passionate because it reminds me of an ex I had. A fake ex.
Wink, wink. Yeah.
You know, and I was like, yeah, it's, you know, Juancito over here, whatever. And I was so passionate, but the whole song, if you know the song, it's about you messed up and you let go of somebody great. But I had the song in mind because I messed up with David. Anyway, so we sang that song. Everybody was like shipping us so hard at the
Because our
party.
performance was killer, bro. We was like strumming on point.
No offense to everybody else who performed because you did good. But David literally brought in a whole guitar. We got dressed up. We had practiced the thing. We put on a show.
Yeah.
Everybody just put backtracks.
We killed the performance, you know.
So back in April, we're sitting and I'm like, okay, he's not saying anything. Let's go. So I'm like, David, I lied to you. And you're like, what do you mean? I mean, he's not expecting at all for me to say this because I really want to catch you off guard. And I'm like, I lied to you. And I'm like, that song is not about so and so.
So that's the thing, right? She thought she caught me off guard. Part of me already knew what she was talking about. You know, you can see it in someone's face. And I've known Anna long enough to know.
He knows me so well.
Exactly. I know her like her. I could read her next thought type shit. I'm not trying to like gas myself up, but we've had enough of a relationship that, you know, I can kind of get what your vibe is. And I was like, okay. I kind of know where you're going with this. So
I think I said that song. Yeah, so I immediately start crying. I'm a very emotional person. If I feel a very strong emotion,
yeah,
I'll cry. If I'm happy, I'll cry. Sad, I'll cry. So
she's in tears. Saying
I'm saying this song is not about this person. This song is about you. And I want to start off by apologizing to you for the way I hurt you and for what I did. But I feel that there's something going on in here.
Yeah.
And at this point, David's just like looking at me, and he's also a little nervous. I'm nervous, and I'm like, I'm choking, and I'm like, I want to tell you that I want to give this another shot, something like that.
Yeah.
And at this point, David, I forgot.
I started crying too. I was up in there like, she showed me that she cares for me and she loves me. I'm like feeling all ushy gushy. I'm like, and I look at her and I'm like, you know, I kind of get where you're going with this. I was like, thank you for apologizing, and I apologize to her as well about any stupid shit that I have done and hurt her as well, because she was expressing these emotions for me throughout all of high school, all of middle school, remaining
Even like
while I was dating other people.
I was
like,
respectful though.
Yeah,
You
she
got-
was very respectful. If I was in a relationship, she wouldn't like push, you know, but she was still there and being patient. And you can still tell a person's feelings even if they don't say it.
Cause that's the one thing I.
Read like a book.
Yeah, no, but like when you had other relationships, I sat there and watched it.
Yeah.
Even though it hurt me, I supported you, bro, because you were
Yeah.
happy in the moment. Props to you. All the girlfriends you've had through high school or whatever.
Yeah.
Props to you, because you were happy. But I had to sit there and
Yeah.
pain and
So
take it.
it was like, I apologize for that. And in that moment, I was like, okay, I kind of know where this is going.
That's exactly what you said. You were like, I kind of know where this is going. And I was like, I want to ask you something.
And I was like, no. Let me do it. Let me do it, please. I was like, you can't be the ultimate Rizzler in all situations. I didn't say that, of course, but I was like, let me please. I was like, okay, will you be my girlfriend? And she's like, oh my god, like not didn't react like that, but it was like,
I was
yes,
just like,
yes.
yeah.
like sobbing, snot coming out the nose, boogies and everything. And we kissed, and it was beautiful. It was there was couples walking by, people with their dogs, you know, cherry blossoms, birds.
It was so nice.
It
We
was
got a
very
picture.
cheesy, yeah.
A mother and a daughter were taking pictures by the cherry blossoms,
Mm-hmm.
and they took a picture of us. And we kind of had to cut it short because we were having this beautiful, intimate moment. But mind you, we
I had to go to work.
Yes. So I walked him to a train station. I walked you to your job. I took you to your job, I think.
All the way to my job?
No.
No, we separated. We
the
separated
train.
at the train station.
So we separated at the train station. He goes to work, and I'm like, I'll meet you after work at your house.
Yeah.
So I was, oh my
On top of the world.
god,
Like,
because this one thing like.
you've been aiming for
You know?
how many years?
And I got it, and I was so excited that I ended up walking like 5-7 miles just walking
Yeah.
because I was going to Queens to meet my dad. We were going to this all you can eat buffet. I was so happy. I was like, hey papi, let me take you out, let's go. So I met up with him, and I was going to him, but the trains wasn't working, so I was like, you know what, I can walk it. And I walked so hard because I was like walking on clouds that I got blisters so bad. I didn't realize up until the next day. And I was just walking. I called my tia on the phone. I was like, damn.
Her Thea knew kind of like who I was and the
Yeah.
emotions behind it.
Everybody kind of knew,
Yeah.
you know, even when we told his mom, like, she was like,
I
oh,
was like, oh, okay. We told
I-
our friends. Oh, yeah, I figured.
we
like,
know.
yeah, it was no surprise to anyone but me, apparently.
So that's where it was. And it just made more sense that I moved in because I spent so much time here, and
Yeah.
his place was much bigger than mine. And I just kind of moved in here, you know.
We moved, so we started dating. And it sounds crazy, but I think like a month later she moves in.
Yeah.
But we've been friends since, I'd say 15, because we met at 13, but 15. That's about 8 years of friendship. If we were to start from 13 when we met, that's 10 years, you know?
I feel like at 13 we had we had good conversations. You may
Yeah.
not remember them, but we had
deep conversations. So yeah, it's like 10 plus years of knowing each other, and about 8 of consistent friendship. And we know each other pretty well. We decided to move in together.
Like we've been on vacations together. Like what it's like to live with somebody or to co-live with somebody. And
Yeah.
like we just kind of know each other. He's seen me date other people. He knows my foundations for a relationship.
Yeah.
He knows what I want in a man. Like same thing, vice versa. Like I've seen him, I've seen him like talk about how wonderful it feels to get this done by a woman, or when she treats you this way, or the things that he doesn't like to receive from his significant other. So we
Yeah.
kind of like picked up on it.
It created a nice balance.
Yeah.
So when we transitioned into dating and then into living together, it was very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward, how many months later? It's been since April, May, June,
We're
July,
in
August,
January.
September,
10
October,
months.
November, December, January. 9 months.
Yeah.
9 months, good, because January is not over.
True.
So 9 months of dating, 8 months of living together.
And
And
now
here we are.
we're here.
We're doing a podcast together because everyone calls us mama y papa, and like we're that couple in ours. Not trying to like brag, but
Not to say like we're that bitch, but in
I feel like we have a healthy relationship, and we like having these type of conversations.
we
So
provide the safe space for
whoever.
for each other.
Yes.
That's the number one thing. But every time we have a conversation with somebody, we've been told so many times, and like my one friend that tells me this all the time, Iris, she says when
Iris is a beautiful woman, yeah. And
we love her.
Yeah, she's very, very like intellectually aware and conscious, and it's just great to have conversations with her.
And like many other friends, like stories and people we have, and like everybody always wants to hear us, and everybody either comes to me or comes to David. And I know what it's like to not have someone to go to. I grew up, and we'll get into this as the show goes on, but I grew up with somewhat machista dad, single dad. Imagine you're a single dad, an immigrant in this country, and you're like so protective over your daughter to the point to where she may tell you certain things or she may not, you know? And
it was very isolating.
Like daddy issues, mommy issues, all these things. And like there's so many gaps within me. I'm learning to
heal grow
both of them, you know? And that has been through conversations. And David and I will sit and we'll have these conversations, and
we'll talk.
I wish somebody could listen to the advice that he gives me.
And vice versa, 'cause she gives me beautiful advice as well.
You know, so it's about creating a safe space for anybody who, whether you have a question or you want to know that you are not the only one. You are not the only one who feels this way. And just to know that you have somebody there listening, or somebody who you can relate to.
Yeah, representation matters.
I say that a lot.
Yeah, that's her big thing. But yeah, so it's just an opportunity for us to share our story, hear other stories, and have a good time along the way, because what we say is valuable, you know? And I recognize that for myself. I recognize that for Ane. And also what you have to say and your input is valuable as well. And we want a space where we can all share and have that accessible.
We'll have a lot going on here, whether it's guest speakers or
who knows, you know?
Like
wherever the podcast takes it.
We have our Instagram. Who knows, maybe we could do like questions, answering questions or things like that. If anybody ever needs a piece of advice, trust me, I'm not a psychologist, I'm none of that, but I am a 23-year-old Latina living in New York.
And we're speaking from our experience.
You know, our experience. Like, we're not professionals or any of that. This is just a space to let you know that you're not the only one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we have planned for here. Song recommendations, creativity-wise. There's so much that we have in mind. We're not setting, like, one specific structure to it.
We're starting a new adventure, and we're stepping out onto it with you. So it's not just us. This will grow as the community grows, as we grow, and we're just looking forward to that taking place.
Exactly.
Yeah, like right now we're filming on a beanbag in one of the bedrooms in the house, like blank wall, you know, just starting exactly how we want to start. We have plans. And
authenticity is so rare.
Yeah.
Being raw with your work is so rare. And that's what this is.
We want to be that authentic, raw, genuine space. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm very, very excited.
Do you want to plug our socials?
Yes, go ahead.
Perfect. So the social for the podcast itself, we're gonna do Not Your Average Chalupa on both Instagram and TikTok. We're gonna figure out where we're streaming the actual podcast after the recording. We're gonna edit it and try to figure out where we can put it up, and you guys will be notified about it because you're gonna be hearing it.
You'll be listening to it from somewhere.
Exactly. But yeah, and then our personal Instagrams and TikToks. Right now, I forgot what mine is. Do you remember?
Got you.
I think it's Waken Dave, but
it is. But we need.
I'm gonna change it. Yeah. My goal is to make it Favorite David. So FAVID DAVID. Favorite David.
Right now
it's Waken. So WAKEN DAVE 3. That's on Instagram.
No V, the V, no E.
Yeah.
The E is the 3.
Sorry, yeah. Whatever. But Waken, that's exactly how it's spelled. DAV 3. You got that. And then I'm not using Instagram.
I got you. So I love my username on Instagram. I chose it back in like 2012 when Jason Derulo came out. You know.
Yeah.
You remember that song? Wiggle, wiggle. You know what to do. What is it? You know what to do with that big fat butt. Wiggle. And that's my username. Wiggle. So my username Spell it out. WIGGLE ._.
Okay.
WIGGLE.
Oh shit, that's pretty clean. I like that username.
It's so cool, and I don't think I'm ever gonna change it. It's
No.
so unique.
Yeah.
And everybody always tells me about the song whenever they hear it. So yeah, that's us.
Thank you for
am
listening.
so excited.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you for listening to us, whether you're sitting down or whether we're your background noise. We appreciate it.
Exactly.
And we're just ready for what's to come.
Ready to grow.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you on another episode of
Not Your Average Chalupa.
Oh yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.